Hi students, in our previous video lecture, we discussed PYQs from life process chapter, right? In this video session, we are going to solve 2 mark, 3 mark, 5 mark and case-based question from life process chapter. I told you earlier, this is the longest chapter and most important chapter, high weightage chapter. Shall we start? Look at the first question. This is 2024 2 mark question. They ask, state one role of each of the following in human digestive system. Each of the following, one role they given in human digestive system. Number 1, hydrochloric acid, HCl, villi, anal sphincter, lipase. There are 4 hydrochloric acid substance they given. 4 different things they given which is related to human digestive system. They are asking only one role of each of this. Hydrochloric acid. If you are able to recall the theory class, this is esophagus. Esophagus leads into stomach, right? This is stomach, right? Now, in the stomach, there are the walls of stomach has gastric glands. This one. This entire the wall of stomach has what? Tell me. Gastric glands are there. Gastric glands secrete gastric juice. Gastric juice composition, any one of you? Gastric juice contain HCl, mucus and pepsin enzyme, protein digesting enzyme, right? Now this entire lining of stomach, I can say this entire lining of stomach consists what? Tell me. Gastric glands. Look at here. Gastric glands. This gastric glands secrete juice. The juice is called, tell me, gastric juice. This gastric juice consists, remember all of you, 3 major components are there. Number 1, HCl, hydrochloric acid, HCl. High concentrated HCl is there, HCl. That's why acidic medium in the stomach. Number 2, mucus is there, mucus. Number 3, last one is called protein digested enzyme called, tell me, pepsin. 3 major components are there in the gastric juice which is secreted by the gastric gland. Right? They're asking one role of each. Hydrochloric acid which create acidic medium in the stomach. This acidic medium is essential for something. Any one of you can guess what exactly this acidic medium is useful for? Remember all of you, this pepsin is not released directly in the form of a pepsin. Pepsin is an active form of enzyme. Students, remember, pepsin is a protein digesting enzyme. What is, tell me? This pepsin is protein digesting enzyme. This protein digesting enzyme, pepsin is not released directly in the form of a pepsin. This enzyme released in the form of pepsinogen, inactive form. Let me write here. This is pepsinogen. This pepsinogen inactive form convert into what? Tell me, active form called pepsin. This is the active form. Pepsin is active form. What is inactive form? Pepsinogen is inactive form. Remember all of you. So who will convert this pepsinogen into pepsin? Inactive pepsinogen into active pepsin is done by HCl. So I can write here the first role, the simple you can write, tell me, HCl is essential for the conversion of pepsinogen inactivate enzyme to active, or HCl create acidic medium. In this acidic medium, this pepsinogen convert into pepsin. One role they ask. Second role also, one more role also we can tell. HCl can kill the microbes which enter through a food. We can also give this answer also. But they are asking one role of the HCl. So you can write conversion of this pepsinogen into pepsin. Number 2. What is number 2? Number 2, villi. We know in a small intestine wall, numerous finger-like projections called villi. These numerous finger-like projections increase surface area for more and more digestion or absorption. Digestion or absorption? Absorption. That's why in the small intestine, food metal undergo complete digestion and absorption. So villi first role is what? Tell me, increase the surface area for more and more absorption. Next, anal sphincter, they mention anal sphincter. You need to be very careful this one. If you read NCERT, the last line or the last passage of human digestive system, you will get the answer. I'll explain you here. Careful, look at it. Here, This is large intestine. This is large intestine. Okay, let me write here. This is, again, I'm writing here, this is stomach. Stomach leads into what, tell me? Small intestine. Look at it. This is the small intestine. Small intestine is divided into duodenum, jejunum, ileum, right? Three parts are there. Look at it. This is a small intestine where exact all the food metal undergo digestion, right? Now, small intestine leads into large intestine. Look at it. This is a large intestine. My dear student, small intestine, large intestine combining area where small finger-like projection is called what, tell me? Appendix, right? Now, this is the large intestine. Large intestine, student, keep in mind, in large intestine, large amount of what, tell me? Water absorption takes place. This is the large intestine. This is large intestine. Large intestine, keep in mind. What about in the middle, this one? This is called small intestine. Small intestine. You got my point? Now, this large intestine divide into colon, rectum, anus. Students, keep in mind here, the undigested, unobserved waste materials are entered into what, tell me? Large intestine. These are the undigested food material. The digested food material in the small intestine already undergo absorption process through villi, finger-like projection. So whatever the food material did not undergo digestion, it's called undigested and unobserved food material entered into where? Large intestine. Now this large intestine through, it come down. Okay, so look at here, this is called rectum and anus. The exit, this anus, look at here, this is the anus. Look at this is anus. The exit of this waste material regulated by a sphincter called anal sphincter. This waste material called fecal matter going out. So the exit of this undigested, unobserved waste material is regulated by what, tell me? Anal sphincter. Am I clear? This waste material sending out, this waste material exit is regulated by this anal sphincter. Keep in mind, right? Next, last one is called lipase enzyme. Lipase enzyme is secreted by pancreatic gland. Lipase enzyme act on the emulsified fats. Fat digestion. Do you remember this one? Emulsification. Emulsification process takes place in the duodenum in presence of bile salts. Bile juice. Bile juice does not contain any digestive enzyme, but bile juice is important for the fat digestion because bile juice is essential for what? Emulsification process. So this lipase enzyme is important for the digestion of emulsified fat. So they are asking one role, simple question from human digestive system. Shall we move on to the next question? Look at the next question. Second question. Mention the pathway of urine in our body starting from the organ of its formation. Where it will form, tell me? Kidney. The formation of urine in the kidney, right? Kidney to excretion, to its excretion. What will happen if the tubular part of nephron does not work properly? Tubular part of nephron, they are given. What is this tubular part of nephron? Which all parts include in the tubular part of nephron? Listen carefully. PCT, DCT, collecting that loop of Henle, this all are the part of tubular part of nephron only. But I'll explain you this entire question from the beginning. Carefully listen here. They're asking, mention the pathway. They're asking pathway also, right? Let me explain the entire pathway. Now, where the urine will form, tell me? Urine formation takes place in the kidney. Look at here. Here I'm writing this is a pair of human kidney, right? These are the kidneys. Now, exactly in the kidney, the urine formation takes place. Correct? Now, whatever the urine is for, it is entered into the long coiled tube-like structure. These tube-like structures are called, tell me, ureter. This tube-like structure called ureter, or this also known as urinary tubule. These urinary tubules are open into one small bladder. What's called, tell me? Urinary bladder. So, I'm writing here, this is urinary bladder. Right? Let me draw like this. Urinary bladder. Urinary bladder, now it's open into where? Urethra, like this. This is urethra, right? This is urinary bladder. Urinary tubules are open. So urine formation takes place in kidney. This urine is collected by the urinary tubule and it's stored in where? In the urinary bladder and through urethra. This is urethra. Urethra. And what about this structure? This is called urinary bladder. Urinary bladder, and these are ureter. Okay, and this is what, tell me exactly where urine formation takes place. So kidney, remember all of kidney. So this is urine. Now urine through this urethra and it is sending out. This is called mixturation or urination process. The pathway is urine to urinary tubule to urinary bladder to urethra. This is the pathway. The answer is what, tell me? The pathway we already covered. Urine, urinary tubule and urinary bladder to urethra to outside. Second part of the question, carefully look at the second part of the question. What it's given? What will happen if the tubular part of nephron? What exactly this nephron? Nephron is a filtrationary unit. It is the one, the small coily tube-like structure in the kidney which actually form urine. That's why we call it is a structural and functional unit of kidney. Filtrating unit is what? Nephron. Okay, good. Look at here. Each and every nephron consists. Look at here. This is the Bowman's capsule. The cup-like structure is called, tell me, Bowman's capsule. Into this Bowman's capsule, the blood vessels enter. Look at it. This is a Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule open into highly twisted tube-like structure. This is called PCT. PCT open into descending limb. Look at it. This is a descending limb. Right? Now look at here. Into this Bowman's capsule, student, blood vessels enter like this. Like this. This is afferent arteriole and there will be a cluster of blood capillaries in the Bowman's capsule. These capillaries are known as glomerulus. Glomerulus. What is this cup-like structure called? Tell me. This cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule. Remember all of capsule. What about this capillary is called? Glomerulus. Glomerulus. In the glomerulus only, blood undergo filtration and form urine. It's called filtrate. In higher classes, you learn it, filtrate. Now here, this entire, in this exactly place where in the glomerulus, the blood undergo filtration and form. This is filtrate. Look at it. This is called a urine. But in this urine, student, careful, look at here. Whatever, it's not called urine, actually, it's called filtrate. It's called filtrate. We should call this one is filtrate. Remember all of you, this is filtrate. Remember all of you, when blood entered into the Bowman's capsule, look at, I'm showing arrow mark, look at the blood entered into the Bowman's capsule. It undergo a process called ultrafiltration. Filtration process takes place in the glomerulus. Once blood undergo a process called filtration, it forms a fluid part called filtrate. Look at it, this is a filtrate. But in this filtrate, student, our essential substance are there. What are the essential substance in this filtrate? In this filtrate, essential substance like glucose, essential substance like amino acid, water, minerals are there, salts are there. You got my point? This essential substance like amino acid, glucose, water, salts undergo a process called reabsorption in the tubular part of nephron only. Where this exactly this all essential substance undergo reabsorption in which part of kidney, which part of nephron? Tubular part of nephron. Tubular part include what? Tubular part include, look at it, this is called PCT, proximal convoluted tube, PCT. This is a descending limb of loop of Henle. This is ascending limb of loop of Henle. You got my point? Ascending limb of loop of Henle. And DCT, look at it, DCT and collecting duct. Look at it, careful, look at it, this is called collecting duct. You got my point? Collecting duct. Like this. Are you with me? You understand my point? Collecting that. So this all tubular part undercomes into nephric tubule actually. Nephric tubule. What happened if this, what happened, the tubular part is not properly worked? So who will reabsorb this essential substance like glucose, essential substance like amino acid, essential substance like what, tell me? Water, salts. You got my point? That's the reason why if you read this NCERT and if you recall the theory classes, kidneys are not only for the formation of urine, kidneys are also for osmoregulation, maintaining a water balance in our body, ionic balance, what they call water balance. You got my point? So if the nephron, if a nephron tubular part is not properly working, reabsorption of essential substance does not take place. Remember. Am I clear? So what is the first question answer pathway? The pathway is from kidney, kidney to ureter, ureter to urinary bladder to urethra. But if you carefully look at here, into the kidney, one blood, look at this is called aorta. Aorta come down and divided into a renal artery. Renal artery entered into what, tell me? Each kidney. Like this. Look at here. Renal artery. Am I clear? Renal artery. So I'm mentioning the arrow mark down. Okay. This is aorta. This one is actually aorta. Aorta. So the blood vessel which is entered into the kidney called renal artery. In the renal artery, oxygenated blood plus high amount of nitrogenous waste is there. That's why it's carrying to what? Kidney. It's requesting the kidney. Kidney, you just take oxygen from me. I have lot of oxygen. You just take oxygen from me, but you just purify this entire blood. You purify me. Remove this nitrogenous waste material. So who will remove the nitrogenous waste material from the renal artery? Kidney will remove. Remember all of you. The blood vessel which is coming out. The blood vessel which is coming out, I'm representing with okay, so same red color. The blood vessel which is coming out called renal, what they call? Vein. Renal vein. Look at here. Renal vein. The blood vessel which is coming out, it's called renal vein. Renal vein is what they call joined with the vena cava. This one is called what, tell me? Vena cava. Keep in mind all of it. Am I clear? This is the whole. Now the blood vessel which is coming out from kidney called renal vein. Keep in mind. Am I clear, students? Everything fine? Renal vein, renal artery. If in the exam question come, renal artery rich in the nitrogenous waste or renal vein is rich in the nitrogenous waste, any one of you answer? Any one of you answer? If you know this one, comment in below. Okay. Now, next question, 2024. 2024, this is a 2-mark question. Right. Come to the third question. Third question, 2023. 2023 question. Name the type of blood. Name the type of blood. Blood oxygenated, deoxygenated, transported by each of the following. Mention the path. Okay, from one organ, which of this place, and another one, which of the place. They ask it different places. 2 blood vessels they given. Vena cava. Am I clear? And also pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery. We know all arteries supply or transport pump oxygenated blood to the all part of the body except one artery. What is that? Pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery, what they call pulmonary artery supply deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs. Am I clear? They're asking, name the type of blood, oxygenated or deoxygenated. In vena cava, what kind of blood is there? Deoxygenated blood is there. Deoxygenated blood. In pulmonary artery also, tell me, deoxygenated blood is there. Remember all of you. Deoxygenated blood. Transport by each of the following. Mention the path. Okay, fine. Look at here. Let me take here. This is heart. I'm taking this one is right auricle. Right auricle open into right ventricle. There is a one valve is there. Any one of you tell what is the valve? The valve name is what? Tell me. The valve is tricuspid valve. This is left ventricle. Oh, sorry, right ventricle. I'm sorry. Now here it is what? Tell me. Left auricle. Left auricle to left ventricle. What is there? bicuspid wall is there, right? Look at it. This is left ventricle. Let me mark this one. This one is called right ventricle, RV, right ventricle, and this one is called, tell me, RA, right auricle. What about here? This one is called LA, left auricle, and this one is called left ventricle. Okay. Now let me mark the outer pericardial layer. We know, we have already discussed, the left ventricle walls are 3 times thicker than the right one, because left ventricle need to pump the blood to the all part of the body. Yes, students? Now, look at here. We know in the right atrium, 3 blood vessels, actually 2 blood vessels. In the 10th grade, remember 2 blood vessels. What is called superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, from the lower part of the body and from the upper part of the body. 2 deoxygenated blood vessels come and open, right? What is this blood vessel name? This is called vena cava. Which vena cava? Inferior vena cava. What kind of blood is there? Deoxygenated blood is there. What is this one? Tell me. Superior vena cava. This superior vena cava brings what? Tell me. Vena cava. This superior vena cava deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the body, right? From inferior vena cava lower part of the body, superior vena cava upper part of the body, right? They're asking what? Tell me. Mention the path from one organ which place to another. Now look at here. Inferior vena cava deoxygenated blood from where? From lower part of the body. Blood from lower part of body. Remember all of lower part of body, right? Next, superior vena cava from upper part of the body. But they did not mention about the superior vena cava. Just they mentioned vena cava. Next, second one is what? Tell me here. This blood, deoxygenated blood, this entered deoxygenated blood entered into where? Tell me. Right ventricle. Look at it. This is a right ventricle, deoxygenated blood. From right ventricle through pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery. I'm drawing here. Look at here. One blood vessel is coming out from here. Pulmonary artery, which carry deoxygenated blood from where to where? Heart. This deoxygenated blood to lungs. For what purpose? Tell me. Purification. So, deoxygenated blood from where to where? Right ventricle through pulmonary artery. They are carried to the lungs for purification. So, both blood vessels are deoxygenated blood, but the bringing organ is completely different. Clear, student? Shall we go to the next question? Next question. Look at here. 2023. With the help of schematic flow chart, show the breakdown of glucose. Look at, they're asking what? Tell me. Show the breakdown of glucose in a cell to provide energy in the presence of oxygen, lack of oxygen. Student, this topic is very, very, very important. Everyone should know this entire glucose breakdown pathway before you go to the final exam. So all of you, one more time revise with me here. I'm taking glucose. Look at it. This is glucose, which we digest in where? Small intestine. Right? I told you once glucose, that means carbohydrate undergo digestion to form a glucose. That glucose undergo absorption into blood. Blood carry this glucose to cell. I said cell. Now what happened in the cell? What is the fate of this glucose? This glucose in cytoplasm. Look at here. In cytoplasm. I'm writing here. This is cytoplasm. This glucose undergo breakdown process. In cytoplasm, this glucose convert into two molecule of, tell me, 3 carbon compound name is what? Pyruvate. I can also call pyruvic acid plus little amount of what? Tell me, energy. Actually 2 ATP, but remember little amount of energy according to 10th NCERT. Fine. This process is known as glycolysis. This is the step 1. First step in all type of respiration. Aerobic respiration or anaerobic respiration. This is the step number 1. Glucose convert into pyruvate. Where? In cytoplasm. But we have a 2 condition in the question. Number 1, in presence of oxygen. Look at here. This pyruvate in presence of oxygen In mitochondria, it converts into 6 molecule of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecule of water plus energy. Remember all of you, energy. You know how much? 38 ATPs of huge energy form in presence of oxygen. Look at here, second option they gave in a question, lack of oxygen, not absence of oxygen, lack of oxygen they give. Lack of oxygen mean they're talking about the lactic acid formation in the muscles. So tell me here, this pyruvate, lack of oxygen, here I'm writing lack of oxygen in muscle. This 3 carbon compound, pyruvic acid is 3 carbon compound, right? It convert into 3 carbon compound, name is what? Tell me, lactic acid plus energy. Remember all of you, there is no carbon dioxide production, lactic acid. How many molecule of lactic acid? Again, 2 molecule of lactic acid, 2 molecule of lactic acid and energy. One is the presence of oxygen, one is the absence of oxygen, lack of oxygen, sorry, not absence of oxygen. If absence of oxygen they ask, we should write the alcohol formation in yeast fermentation. You got my point? So the right answer of this question, in the presence of oxygen, this one, this is presence of oxygen is there, and absence of oxygen, lactic acid and energy form. This academic year 2025 February 20th, I think 2025, whatever the exam you're going to appear, the final exam, this chart, the glucose breakdown pathway, very important. There is a chance to come question from this particular topic. So all of you properly prepare and go. Clear? Shall we move on to the next question? Next question, 2023 again. Name the part of human excretory system. Name the part of human excretory system where nephrons are found. Write the structure and function of nephron. Which part of excretory system? If you read NCERT, human excretory system consists of a pair of kidney, a pair of ureter or urinary tubules, one urinary bladder and one urethra. Out of this 4 part, nephrons are located or nephrons are present in the kidney. In the kidney, right? Now they're asking what? Tell me, write the structure and function of nephron. I told you this one. Each nephron consists of a small cup-like structure called, tell me, Bowman's capsule. And this Bowman's capsule is entered into highly twisted tube-like structure called what? Tell me, PCT. PCT open into descending limb of loop of Henle. Descending limb of loop of Henle open into ascending limb of loop of Henle, like this. Look at it. This is the ascending limb of loop of Henle. Right? Look at it. And this will open into DCT. This DCT is open into collecting duct, like this. This is collecting duct. Am I clear, student? Now, look at here. Into the Bowman's capsule, there is one blood vessel come and entered. It's called afferent arteriole. And this afferent arteriole undergo lot of what they call breakdown. That is the capillaries. These capillaries are known as what? Tell me. This is called glomerulus, where exactly what? Filtration of blood takes place and formation of filtrate in the Bowman's capsule or glomerulus. I'm writing this one is called afferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole. The one which come out we call efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole. This one is called Bowman's capsule and this one is called glomerulus, where exactly what? Filtration of blood and formation of filtrate takes place. This one is what? Tell me, PCT, proximal convoluted tube. This one is called descending limb of loop of Henle. Descending limb. Okay. Now this one is called ascending limb of loop of Henle. This one is called DCT and this one is collecting duct. This is the structure of nephron, where here remember all of you, this entire tube-like structure, this nephric tubule, reabsorption of important and very important vital substance like glucose, amino acid takes place. Urine formation or blood filtration and filtrate formation in the Bowman's capsule and essential substance reabsorption in the nephric tubule. Am I clear, student? Shall we go to the next question? Next one. Look at here. Next question. Again, 2023. Why is it important? Why is it important to prevent oxygenated and deoxygenated blood from mixing in birds and mammals? 3-mark question. Carefully listen here. We know our human being and also bird heart with 4 chambers. Fishes heart with 2 chambers. Amphibians, reptiles heart with 3 chambers. Birds and also mammals with 4 chambers, right? 4 chambers. Just now I told you right side of always is collected by what? Deoxygenated blood. Remember all of you, look at here. This is right auricle and right ventricle, and this side is left auricle and left ventricle. Left side is, remember all of you, oxygenated blood. Look at it. Okay, now I'm writing here, this is pericardium. Okay, student, remember, right side is always, this is called right auricle, and here it is, what, tell me, right ventricle. Right side always deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood, fix in your mind, deoxygenated blood, right side, complete right side is deoxygenated blood. Am I clear, student? Come to left side. What is this? Tell me. Left auricle, and this is left ventricle. This side is oxygenated blood. Left side oxygenated, right side deoxygenated. If you closely look at the anatomy of heart, there are septums, students. Septums means, look at here, this is right side. Here it is, look at here, if you closely look at this right auricle to left auricle, there is a septum. This septum is interauricular septum. The septum between 2 auricles, which will not allow of mixing of blood. This septum preventing the mixing of blood. And closely come down into the ventricles. If you look at the ventricle, look at it, this is the one. This is the one called interventricular septum. This interventricular septum also preventing what? Mixing of blood. This is the septum. Look at it. This is a septum. What is this septum? Tell me. Interventricular septum. What is this septum called? Interauricular septum. Sir, why these septums? Tell me. These septums are clearly separating auricles and what they call right side or chambers to left side chambers. They're clearly separating. They are preventing mixing of blood. So why? Why? Carefully listen. Birds and mammals are homeothermic animals. That means they will maintain their internal body temperature. Let me explain you with simple example. In this class, the AC temperature is 25 degrees Celsius is going. But my body temperature is 37. Now, in mammals, internal body temperature we constantly maintain. We will not change our body temperature according to the environment temperature. No. You got my point? You understand my point? Birds and mammals always maintain the internal temperature. For that purpose, they need energy. They need energy. To supply efficiently to all oxygenated blood to the all part of the body, heart need to divide into 4 separate chambers, and this right side and left side should not mix. If a mixing blood takes place, insufficient what they call blood, that means energy, we will not get enough amount of energy to maintain internal body temperature. To maintain internal body temperature. But if you take fishes or what they call, we can write amphibians and reptiles, 3 chamber of heart is there, the mixing of blood takes place. Let me draw the heart of what they call, look at it. This is auricle and left auricle and right auricle, and they have only one ventricle like this. Look at it, only one ventricle. This side is deoxygenated blood collect and this side is oxygenated blood collect. When both blood entered into the ventricle, in the ventricle mixing blood takes place. That mixing blood will going to transport to the all part of the body. Why? Because that amphibians and also reptile no need to maintain their internal body temperature, so they need less energy only. They need less energy only. They don't want higher energy, and they don't want continuous supplying of oxygenated blood to the all part of the body to provide more and more energy. They don't want, because that type of organisms are no need to maintain their internal body temperature. They can easily change their body temperature according to environment. For example, if I am an amphibian, I am an amphibian, outside is 25 degrees Celsius of temperature is going, I can easily bring back my temperature down to 25, equal to the what they call environment. That's called poikilotherms, cold-blooded animals, amphibians, reptiles. Are you with me? But in case of birds and mammals, it's not like that. We will constantly maintain our body, internal body temperature. It doesn't matter how outside is 40 degrees Celsius, 38 degrees Celsius, or 45 degrees Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius, doesn't matter. We will constantly maintain our internal body temperature. For that purpose, we need energy. So we need to supply oxygenated blood continuously to the all part of the body, so that the anatomy of our heart, the designing of our heart to prevent mixing of blood, keep in mind. So they clearly mention why it is important to prevent the oxygenated and deoxygenated. It is important to prevent the mixing of blood, because these mammals and birds need continuous supplying of oxygenated blood to get energy. Am I clear? Come to the next two. Which animals can tolerate some mixing of amphibian and also reptiles? Because they are poikilotherm. They are cold-blooded animals. They are not maintaining their body internal body temperature constantly. They keep on changing. So they tolerate with what? Mixed blood supply. Am I clear? Shall we move on to the next question? Next question. Again, 2023 question. Write some steps functioned each of the following organ. They're asking, write one specific function each of the following organ related with excretion in human being. One specific function of each and every organ they're asking. Renal artery carry oxygenated blood and nitrogenous rich blood to kidney for purification. Urethra is the last part of human excretory system through which urine can come out, pass through, urine can discharge. Next, glomerulus. I told you this glomerulus where blood undergo filtration to form a filtrate. So blood undergo filtration in where? Glomerulus. Tubular part of nephron. I told you in the tubular part of nephron, reabsorption of substances like glucose, amino acid, salts, water takes place. Am I clear? Now I'm going to the next question. Next question, 2023. How green plants are kept separately? I'm sorry, two green plants are kept separately in oxygen-free container. One in the dark and other in sunlight. One in the dark and one in the sunlight. It was observed that plant kept in dark could not survive longer. Plant kept in dark could not survive longer, they mention. And gave reason for this observation, they mention. Okay, let me take two plants. Okay, now I'm taking, this is one plant which we are keeping in a sunlight. Okay, this is plant number 1. Let me call this is plant A. Okay, and here there is a plant B. This plant we are keeping in a sunlight like this. Okay, one is in the dark, one is in a sunlight. Okay, I'm calling this is a plant A in sunlight, plant B in a dark. Fine. Am I clear? Carefully listen this one. We will get one activity question. What they call carbon dioxide is essential for photosynthesis, sunlight essential for photosynthesis. From these two activity, we can expect one question. Carefully listen. One plant, look at this plant is keep on trapping sunlight. We know the events of photosynthesis, right? What are the events of photosynthesis? The first event is what? Absorption of sunlight by chlorophyll, right? Next, we are not providing sunlight. Here, this is a dark. We are keeping this one in a dark, okay, dark place. I am keeping no sunlight. No sunlight. Am I clear? Now, I have a question. What is the role of this sunlight here? Carefully listen what I'm explaining. Now, if I take this leaf, look at it. This is the leaf. If I take, right, in the leaf, there are specific cells are there called mesophyll cells. Look at it. I'm taking one cell. This is one mesophyll cell. Like this. Okay. One mesophyll cell I'm taking. Like this. Okay. This is nucleus. Now here it is chloroplast. This is a chloroplast. This is chloroplast, and in the chloroplast there are some structures are there called what, tell me? Thylakoids, like this. Thylakoid. These are thylakoids. Here also thylakoids are present. Like this, thylakoids, and between the thylakoid there is a connections are there called what, tell me? Stroma lamella. This part is called stroma, and this one is called thylakoid. Thylakoid. Am I clear, students? Right. This entire part, what is the entire structure called? Entire structure is known as chloroplast. Chloroplast. Clear, student? Remember, all of you, in the thylakoid only, there is a pigment present, photosynthetic chlorophyll pigment present. Where? In thylakoid only, there is chlorophyll pigment present. Where? Tell me, in the thylakoid. Carefully listen now. What happened? This is mitochondria. Here I am writing this is mitochondria. Right? In the plant cell also mitochondria are there, right? Now look at here. This is mitochondria. And this entire part is called, tell me, cytoplasm. This is a nucleus. And this one is called cytoplasm. Fine. Plant cell. Now, when sunlight, when it traps the sunlight, we know for photosynthesis two inorganic substances required. What are they? Water and also carbon dioxide, right? Now, in the chlorophyll, exactly in the chlorophyll, water undergo breakdown by sunlight. This sunlight will trap by this chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll exactly in thylakoid, water breakdown to form oxygen. This oxygen is through this cytoplasm and stomata is coming out like this. What they call cytoplasm to stomata to out, it release out oxygen. When water break down, oxygen release. When water break down, ATP also release. Student, keep in mind, that's why if you read NCERT, second event of photosynthesis, conversion of light energy to chemical energy. This ATP important for the conversion of, inside this one, in the stroma, carbon dioxide convert into glucose. Remember, this is most important event, very important. Carbon dioxide convert into glucose. Now, carbon dioxide convert into glucose, this ATP required. For what? For conversion of carbon dioxide into glucose. Please, students, carefully look at here. If you are not giving sunlight to plant, there is no providing of sunlight. Look at this plant, no sunlight. This plant is very, what, tell me, dull. Very sad. Why? There is no sunlight. If there is no sunlight, water splitting not takes place. When water splitting, there is no water. Tell me, no water splitting. Yes or no? Splitting. When there is no water splitting, no oxygen release and no ATP formation. When there is no ATP formation, how can plant produce glucose? Because for the formation of glucose, ATP required, right? Are you with me? So that purpose, ATP required, there is no ATP formation. So this plant died. That means you can easily understand the importance of solar energy, sunlight for photosynthesis. So they're asking what? The plant kept in the dark would not survive longer. Give reason for this observation. You can write this entire mechanism. 3-mark question. Sunlight is essential for the breakdown of water and releasing oxygen and energy. That energy essential for the conversion of carbon dioxide into glucose. This one, careful look at here. Carbon dioxide convert into glucose. Water breakdown gives what? Oxygen plus ATP. Remember all of you. This process takes place in thylakoid, carbon dioxide, glucose in stroma. Many questions I covered, my dear students. Many questions. If you carefully listen my class, especially this question, sure you will get full marks. Carefully read the question. Many hidden MCQs are here in this what they call question. I covered everything. Where is glucose formation takes place? Where is light reaction takes place? What are the end product of light reaction? What is the end product of dark reaction? That means glucose formation, everything. Shall we move on to the next question? Look at the next question. Next question, again 2023 PYQ. List the event in proper sequence takes place during purpose of photosynthesis. Just now we cover. What are the three events? Absorption of sunlight by chlorophyll. Number 2, conversion of light energy to chemical energy and splitting of water in thylakoid. Last one, reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate is given in NCERT. You know what does that carbohydrate mean? Glucose. You know what does the carbohydrate mean? Glucose. Carbon dioxide convert into glucose. They are asking 3 steps. These are the 3 events. Next, or explain in brief 2 ways by which leaves of a plant help in the excretion. Leaves are actually helps in excretion also. We know, we have already learned excretion process in plants. The last concept of life process chapter, if you read a small passage, a small paragraph is given. Plant excrete waste material in the form of falling leaf. You know, in plant there are majority of tissue is the dead tissue. So that dead tissue to remove, what plant will do? Plant will started to lose the leaf, falling leaf. And the majority of waste material is accumulated in the vacuole. When vacuole rupture and the cell die, that particular leaf will be fall off. So excretion in plant by the loss of their leaf. Keep in mind. Okay. Next question. 2023. In the process of digestion of food in human being, 2 protein digesting enzymes are secreted. Name the enzyme along with the glands and they're secreting them. They're asking simple question, easy question, 2-mark question. Protein digesting enzymes. Protein digesting enzyme. First protein digesting enzyme in where? Pepsin. Pepsin is a protein digesting enzyme from gastric glands. Yes, gastric glands. Where? Stomach. Gastric glands present in where? Stomach. Protein digesting enzyme pepsin, gastric gland is a source. Acidic medium, it undergo what? Activation. And here it is, act on where? Proteins. Fine, student. Second one is called trypsin. This trypsin also protein digesting enzyme. It also what, tell me? Protein digesting enzyme. It is secreted by pancreatic gland. Remember all of you, pancreas or pancreatic gland. Under which medium, tell me? Trypsin is under alkaline medium, it will activate. Pepsin is under acidic medium, it activates. Both are protein digesting enzyme and the secreting glands are gastric glands in stomach, pancreatic gland in pancreatic juice. Am I clear? Shall we move on to the next question? Look at the next question. Again, 2023. Give the name of enzyme present in fluid. Give name of enzyme present in fluid in our mouth cavity. State the gland which produce it. What would happen to the digestion process? This gland stops secreting the enzyme. This enzyme is good. In our mouth, salivary glands are there. 3 pairs of salivary glands which produce saliva. Now write down all of you. Salivary glands produce saliva. This saliva contain one digestive enzyme called salivary amylase. This salivary amylase, also known Thielin enzyme. This salivary amylase acts on starch. Am I clear? Starch digestion, carbohydrate digestion, starch digestion. What would happen? Look at here in the cavity. What would happen to the digestion process if this gland stops secreting? If there is no amylase enzyme in saliva or salivary fluid, there is no digestion of starch in the mouth. So undigested starch will reach us to what? Tell me, stomach. Am I clear? There is no digestion of starch in the buccal cavity or mouth. That's a simple answer. Next question. Look at the next question. 2024 last year paper. Why is respiratory pigment needed in multicellular organism with large body size? Student, this is human respiratory system topic. Carefully listen here. In unicellular organisms, the diffusion process take care of what they call respiration. Simple diffusion takes place. Look at here, if I take amoeba, look at here, this is one unicellular organism is amoeba, right? Now, the gaseous exchange takes place from higher concentration to lower concentration. Yes or no? Simple diffusion process takes place. It is a completely unicellular organism. No problem. This much of big body, multicellular organism, big size organism, this diffusion pressure is not enough. This diffusion pressure is not enough. So that we design in human being, in or other organism like a big size body organisms, design respiratory organs like lungs. Tiny, small, balloon-like structure at the end of terminal bronchioles called alveoli. We discussed alveoli. Inside it clearly mentioned in large size body organism, this diffusion pressure is not enough. That's why it has been designed a specific respiratory organ in this type of organism called lungs or skin or trachea. Different type of respiratory organs are there. In case of us, in case of mammals and birds, lungs. We have lungs for respiration. What tell me? Respiration. Now, give reason for following. Okay, we will give reason for following. Rings of cartilage are present in the throat. Yes, rings of cartilage. If you closely look at here, this is called a trachea. We know trachea is divided into bronchi like this. Yes or no? Bronchi. And each bronchi is open into one lung like this. Yes or no, student? Lung. Right? Now, in this trachea, there are C shape of cartilage rings are there to prevent collapsing of trachea like this. In 11th also you will come to know this one. This C shape of cartilage rings always keep trachea open and preventing collapsing, because we always take breath. So trachea need to open all time. So who will support this trachea and keep on opening this trachea? C shape of cartilage rings. Simple reason. Number 2, lungs always contain residual volume of air. Yes. Careful look at it. I'm taking inspiration now. Inspiration, expiration. When I'm exhale in my lung, there is always air present which I cannot take out, which I cannot what they call exhale. We call RV, residual volume. So this residual volume helping to absorb and exchange the oxygen in the lung. It helping, when I'm exhale, if total amount of air come out, what will be exchanged between the lungs and blood? Tell me. What will be exchanged? So always in my lung there is a air which is helping to what they call give time for the exchange of gases, give timing to loading oxygen in the blood. Because of that reason, our lungs will never ever become empty. Our lungs always fill with some air, even after your forceful inspiration and expiration. Look at here. I'm taking forceful inspiration, forceful expression. After forceful expression also, my lung consists little amount of air. We call RV, residual volume. This residual volume helping to what they call absorb or exchange or upload. Loading this oxygen into the blood. Because of this reason, we need to keep the lungs always with little amount of air. That is called RV, residual volume. The diaphragm flattened and ribs are lifted up when the breathe in. Do remember I discussed same question in the MCQ PYQs. When we inhale, thoracic volume or inside the lung volume increase, I said. Volume increase, pressure decrease. Negative pressure generate. So negative pressure inside the lung and environment air pressure is high. So suction generate, I say. Now, when diaphragm is flattened and ribs are lifted up, can create this exact environment in the lung. Volume increase, pressure decrease. This is very, what they call favorable for the suction generation and also taking of air from environment. Reason. Next, wall of alveoli contain an extensive network of blood capillary. Yes, you know the respiratory organ characteristic feature is high blood supply, mucous surface area, large surface area, thin membrane. These are the 4 important characteristic feature of respiratory organs. This extensive network of blood capillary, if I draw the alveoli, look at it, this is one alveoli, there is the blood capillaries will come and look at it, what they call a completely extensive supply or what they call blood capillaries are there. Why? When more and more oxygen is coming to take this oxygen into the blood and make oxygenated blood, make blood become oxygenated. So what happened here? The more and more blood capillaries, this oxygen is entered into the blood. So oxygen will be, the blood will become what? Oxygenated blood. Respiratory organ characteristic feature, every respiratory organ should be rich in blood supply, so that they can take the oxygen and the blood become what, tell me, oxygenated blood. So wall of alveoli contain an extensive network blood vessels because the oxygen diffusion, oxygen exchange, gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli, so that exchange oxygen is entered into where? Blood. So if there is no blood capillaries, where the oxygen will be diffused into, tell me? If there is no extensive blood supply to that alveoli, where the oxygen will be delivered into, where the oxygen will be loaded into? Yes or no? You got my point? Come to the next question. Again, 2024. Give reason for the following. Alveoli, sir, they already covered this, we covered just now. Respiratory pigment in the blood take by is also we cover, right? Respiratory pigment in blood take up oxygen and not carbon dioxide. This I will explain you. Not carbon dioxide. You know, respiratory pigment in the blood take up oxygen and not carbon dioxide. Respiratory pigment affinity towards the oxygen. It takes. You got my point? It takes. If you take, look at it. This is alveoli. Careful, look at it. This is alveoli. Here, this is blood capillary. Careful, look at it. This is blood. This is blood. Okay. Pulmonary artery. Look at it. This is the blood. Now, in the alveoli, what is there? Oxygen is there, right? Now, here it is blood. In the blood, there is RBC. Look at it. This is RBC. In the RBC, we know there is a pigment is there. The pigment name is called hemoglobin pigment. Hemoglobin pigment. So, exactly at alveoli, what is rich? Tell me. Oxygen is very high, right? Now, this hemoglobin, let me write this one is hemoglobin. HB, hemoglobin. Now here in the alveoli, oxygen value is more, carbon dioxide less. Now hemoglobin affinity toward the oxygen come and bind to what, tell me? Hemoglobin. Oxygen come and bind to hemoglobin. Remember all of you, one hemoglobin molecule can transport 4 molecules of oxygen. How many molecules of oxygen? 4 molecules. This is called oxygen loading. At which place? Alveoli. Am I clear? Now, during anaerobic respiration, 3 carbon molecule is formed as the end product instead carbon dioxide in human being, they are asking. Right? Now, during anaerobic respiration, 3 carbon molecule is formed as the end product instead carbon dioxide in human being. You know, this 3 carbon molecule is called what? Tell me, lactic acid. Lactic acid during anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration takes place in where? Muscles. Muscles it takes place. So what is the 3 carbon compound? Lactic acid. Pyruvic acid convert into 3 carbon molecule called lactic acid. 3-mark question. This is very easy. Come to the next question. 2024. name the movement that occur all along the gut. Peristaltical movement, peristalsis movement. This movement rhythmically pushing the food into the gut, which give proper digestion in the gut. The alimentary canal muscles are actually smooth muscles. When they contract rhythmically, the food slowly push into the gut, which give proper digestion in the gut. Simple answer. Next, where is bile stored? Bile stored in liver. Bile secreted by liver, stored in gallbladder. Bile is important for what? For emulsification process. If you take, this is human liver, and in the human liver, there is a small structure is there. What is this? This is actually called gallbladder. Look at it like this. Come down. Okay, here it is, bile storage. Got my point? So who will secrete the liver? Who will secrete the bile? Liver produce the bile juice. Okay, through this duct, this will come and what they call stored in the gallbladder. And this bile is important for emulsification, but bile does not consist any digestive enzyme. Keep in mind. It does not consist any digestive. Now, where is bile juice stored in human body? Gallbladder. List two role of bile juice. Bile juice consists of bile enzymes, bile salts, bile pigments. Bile salts are important for emulsification, conversion of macro fat molecule into micro fat molecule, which is very, very important for what? Fat digestion. Second function of this bile pigments can give color to a feces. Bile pigments give color to a urine also, urochrome. You got my point? Bile salts are very important for emulsification process. Bile pigments are giving color to a what they call fecal matter. Am I clear, student? So these are the two important function of bile. Bile does not consist any enzyme, digestive enzyme. Bile consists bile salts, bile pigments. Digestive enzymes are not there, but bile is important for what? For the emulsification process. Come to the next question. 2023 from what they call respiration topic. Look at here. It's clearly given. What state the role of ATP in cellular respiration? I told you when glucose undergo breakdown process, eventually we'll get one chemical energy called ATP. ADP take one inorganic phosphate or phosphate to form ATP. Yes or no? ATP. Now this ATP is important for protein synthesis in our body, muscle contraction, nerve impulse generation, many things in our body. Lot of things are, lot of cells, a lot of tissues are endothermic reaction takes place in the cells and tissues. So for that purpose, ATP required, and this ATP for muscle contraction, nerve impulse generation, and also what? Protein synthesis. Clear? ATP is like currency, energy currency. Next, number 2. What ensure sufficient exchange of gas in the plant? Stomata. Exchanging of gas through what? Tell me. Stomata. Simple answer. Stomata. Next, state the conditions on which direction of diffusion of gases in plant depend upon. This is important. Carefully listen here. What they're asking, state the conditions on which direction diffusion of gases in plant. Two directions NCERT given. One is called environment, second one called requirement of the plant. What is the meaning of requirement of the plant? Let's take one plant here. Look at here, at night time. What happened? Night time, where no photosynthesis takes place at night time. So carbon dioxide from plant started to diffuse out. Carbon dioxide diffuse out. What time? Tell me. At night. This is at what, tell me? Night. During daytime, what happened? During daytime, photosynthesis takes place. So oxygen come out and carbon dioxide taken in. What, tell me? Daytime. Daytime, photosynthesis takes place. That's why oxygen releasing out and carbon dioxide taken in. During what they call nighttime, where there is no photosynthesis, that's why what is coming out? Carbon dioxide is coming out. So there are two things given, two conditions given. One is called environment condition and number two, requirement of plant. Clear, student? Go to the next question. Next question is again 2023 question. What is the internal energy reserve in plants and animal? In case of plant, the reserve energy is what, tell me? Starch. Starch is reserve. In case of animal, tell me what is the reserve energy? In case of animals, the reserve energy is glycogen. Am I clear? Glycogen. Number two, how desert plants perform photosynthesis if their stomata remain closed during daytime? Yes, this desert plants outside temperature at daytime is very high. If they open stomata, transpiration takes place, they may chance to lose water. They lost water. So to prevent this process, daytime they remain stomatas closed, nighttime they open the stomata. At nighttime they open stomata, and they take carbon dioxide, and form some intermediate component. This intermediate component during the daytime started to convert into glucose. This total mechanism in the 11th grade you come to know. But remember, daytime they remain closed the stomata, but nighttime the stomatas are open, carbon dioxide taken in, and they prepare some intermediate component. In daytime, this intermediate component through they prepare glucose. That's how desert plants can do a photosynthesis. Shall we go to the next question? Look at the next question. 2023 again. What is the first step in the breakdown of glucose? Breakdown of glucose during aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Where does this process takes place? I told you this one. Glucose breakdown into pyruvic acid or pyruvate. How many molecule of pyruvate? 2 molecule of pyruvate plus energy. This process is known as glycolysis. This is the step number 1. Where this process takes place? Cytoplasm. Am I clear? Now, first one, breakdown of what is the first step? Glycolysis. Where does this process takes place? Cytoplasm. Clear? Come to the next one. ATP is called energy currency for the cell. Why? We already covered in the previous question. Next, what is mean by residual volume of air in the breathing cycle? I told you the amount of air which is remain in the lung even after forceful expiration called residual volume. This volume can give time for the exchanging of gases, oxygen in the lung. Then next question. Next question, 2023. With the help of an activity, explain the action of saliva on a food we eat. Why is a bile juice important for the process of digestion? These two questions I already covered in the previous question. You just watch that one. Clear? Next question. 2023. Explain the process of transport of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in a human body. Transport of oxygenated and deoxygenated. Look at here, all of you careful, look at here. I'm taking auricle. This is auricle. Auricle. Right auricle. Right auricle open into what? Right auricle open into right ventricle. Like this. Look at here. This is right ventricle. Am I clear? Right auricle to right ventricle. There is one valve is there. What is the valve? Tell me. The valve name is called tricuspid wall. This is left auricle. Left auricle is open into left ventricle. Look at it. Left ventricle. There is one more wall is there. What is the wall called? Tricuspid. Tricuspid and bicuspid wall. Here, I'm drawing here. This is the wall. Look at it. This wall is actually a tricuspid wall. 1, 2, 3 cups are the tricuspid wall. Tricuspid wall between right auricle to right ventricle. This is bicuspid wall between what? Tell me. Right, left auricle to left ventricle, like this. Am I clear? Right. Carefully try to understand. This is 5-mark question. Now I'm writing here pericardium. We know left auricle, left ventricle is thicker than the right ventricle. Correct? Now, right side, we know blood vessels are coming up from the upper part of the body, bringing deoxygenated blood. Lower part of the body, bringing deoxygenated blood. Superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. These are deoxygenated blood and open into right auricle. Here I'm writing this is RA. Let me write here. This one is right auricle. What is this one? Right ventricle. What about this wall? This wall name is called what? Tell me. Tricuspid wall. Tricuspid wall. What is this? Left auricle, left ventricle, and this is bicuspid wall. Am I clear? Bicuspid wall. Careful, look at here. Now, when deoxygenated blood is collected from the different part of the body, this deoxygenated blood is transferred through this tricuspid wall into what? Tell me. Into right ventricle. I'm a clear student. This is what kind of blood? Tell me. Deoxygenated blood. Left auricle receive oxygenated blood from pulmonary vein, like this. How many pulmonary vein? 4 pulmonary veins, like this. From where? From the lungs. What kind of blood? Tell me. Oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood. Now, here we need to remember, all of you, when both auricles, here I am writing this is oxygenated blood. When both auricles contract, oxygenated blood from where? Left auricle is pumped into the left ventricle. Deoxygenated blood from right auricle into a right ventricle, it will pump. When both ventricles contract, from here one big blood vessel come out. This blood vessel name is called what? Pulmonary artery. Look at it. This is the pulmonary artery. When ventricles contract, right ventricle contract, deoxygenated blood through this pulmonary artery going to lungs for purification. What about left ventricle? From left ventricle, big blood vessel, which we call, tell me, aorta, come out. Aorta, which supply oxygenated blood to the all part of the body. So when left ventricle pump, when left ventricle contract, oxygenated blood is pumped to the all part of body. That's how oxygenated and deoxygenated blood will be transported and pumped from heart to all part of the body. 5-mark question. You should remember all blood vessel. You should remember all auricles of heart. Clear? Go back to the next question. Next question is 2024 5-mark question. Human digestive system. Human digestive system is a tube running from mouth to anus. Its main function is to break down complex molecule present in the food, which cannot be absorbed as such into a simple molecule. Right? Those molecules are absorbed across the wall of tube and absorb food reaches to and every cell of the body where it utilizes for the obtaining energy. Clear? Look at the questions what they given. Name the gland present in the buccal cavity and write the components of food on which this secrete. In buccal cavity, the glands are salivary glands which secrete salivary amylase which acts on starch. Simple answer. 2 organs have a sphincter muscles at their exit. Name them. Stomach and intestine. Stomach and intestine, the sphincter. Next, what will happen if mucus is not secreted by the gastric gland? If mucus is not secreted by the gastric gland, the HCl can damage the wall of stomach and cause acidity and ulcer. Remember, so mucus is actually protecting the line of stomach. Clear? Next, villi are absent in the small intestine. If villi absent in the small intestine, absorption of food, digested food does not take place. Villi are very, very important to increase surface area for more and more absorption. Clear? Next, bile juice does not contain any enzyme, yet it has important role in the digestion. Justify the statement. I told you this one. Bile does not consist digestive enzyme, but bile is important for the emulsification of fat. Clear? Because bile consists what? Bile salts. Next question. 2024 5-mark question. Kidneys are vital organs for survival. Several factors like infection, injury, restricted blood flow to kidney reduce the activity of kidneys. Fine. Now what is given? This leads to accumulation of poisonous waste in the body, which can even lead to a death. In case of kidney failure, an artificial kidney can be used. An artificial kidney is advised to remove waste product from blood through a dialysis, hemodialysis. Direct NCERT statement. This is direct NCERT paragraph. So what are the related questions they ask? Question number 1. Name the artery that bring oxygenated blood to kidney. Simple. I told you, renal artery. Renal artery bring oxygenated blood to kidney, and that renal artery consists large amount of nitrogenous waste also, I said. Next, name the cluster that thin wall blood capillary is present in the Bowman's capsule. Glomerulus. The thin capillaries in the Bowman's capsule, what we call? Glomerulus. Where exactly? Blood undergo filtration to form filtrate. Next, in human excretory system, name the organ which store urine. Urinary bladder. Is this under the hormonal control or nervous system? It is controlled by the nervous system, because urinary bladder made up of smooth muscle and the sphincters made up of smooth and also what they call a skeletal muscle. So it is controlled by the nervous system, not hormone, nervous system. Next, list 2 major steps involved in the formation of urine and state its brief in the function. First step is ultrafiltration. Blood undergo filtration in the Bowman's capsule to form a filtrate. Second step is reabsorption, active reabsorption. Substance like glucose, amino acids, sodium undergo active reabsorption back to blood. Water and few substances are passively undergo reabsorption into blood. So 2 major steps, ultrafiltration, and second one is called active reabsorption. Ultrafiltration takes place in the Bowman's capsule, cup-like structure, Bowman's capsule, glomerulus, and reabsorption takes place in the nephric tubule. Clear? Next, last question. In which part of the nephron does selective reabsorption takes place? Selective reabsorption takes place in PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. PCT, right after what? Bowman's capsule. PCT. Next, list the factors which the amount of water reabsorbed depends on. The factors are amount of water in the blood. Amount of water. If the amount of water is less in the blood, the reabsorption of water from filtrate is high. Keep in mind. You got my point? High. If the amount of water is in the blood is very high, the reabsorption of water from filtrate is less. For example, in my body, water content is less. In my blood, water content is less. what happened? From filtrate, large amount of water taken out and given to the blood. So what kind of urine form? Hypertonic urine formation takes place. If in my body enough amount of water is there, hypotonic urine, because in the urine large amount of water is there, the reabsorption is very less. Reabsorption of water is very less. You got my point? So these are the important 2, 3, 5 and also case-based question from life process chapter. So far, 2 videos we has been completed from the life process. One is entirely PYQ, one is 2, 3, 5 and case-based question. Next, I'm going to record how do organism reproduce. Very, very big chapter and important chapter, MCQ question from PYQs, previous year papers. Previous year papers, we are going to discuss how do organism reproduce chapter in the next video. All of you seriously prepare for final exam. This year, you should get 100 out of 100 in 10th science. All the very best. Thank you.